At least wait for me to be late 15 minutes and then we can talk. So, I already got a super chat. Thank you, the Dashing Rogue, for the $4.99. According to Owen Benjamin, Paul Joseph Watson grabbed Ashton Birdie and Tate, grappled Lauren Southern. Hints why Paul Joseph Watson is protecting Tate. I don't know about any drama between Paul Joseph Watson and other people. But what I do know is that if Andrew Tate wasn't banned from social media, almost no one would defend him right now. I mean, the only reason that there's like this ideology that, well, it's the system against him, the Matrix. First of all, the Matrix is also arresting 2 other women besides the Tate brothers. Like, they're also involved in the same charge. And one of them is an ex-police officer. Apparently in Romania now they're investigating the police as well. So it's the police from one town where apparently they were collaborating with Tate's network of human trafficking. I genuinely do not see this as some people try to push it, a political arrest. Again, like, Tate isn't a politician, right? Like, he wasn't trying to get into politics. He's not an influential person. He doesn't have even that big of a following. I mean, sure, he has like a couple of million TikTokers, but he's not like the president of CNN or someone, right? So it's like, I'm looking at the evidence, because you guys have seen my channel, and you know that in the beginning I was like, okay, benefit of the doubt, but then you have all these leaked recordings, you have wiretappings, you have people coming forward, you have experts, and I'm like, okay, well, it kind of looks like he did it, and on top of that, his own freaking videos. Like, his own videos are talking about him money laundering and shit. It's like, okay, well, I do think that the authorities have something on him. So anyway, Tim Pool is fighting the quartering. Oh my god, I need to fight someone. Who do I fight? Who do I fight? I need someone with a similar subscriber base as mine, right? I can't fight Pipkin Pippa. She's bigger than me. Last time I checked, she had like 2,000 viewers. I was, Jesus fucking Christ. Oh, Antifa Romania is here. Dude, if you start like if the Antifa Romania is beginning with free Andrew Tate, I'm stopping my YouTube career. You want me to get off YouTube? This is how you do it. Anyway. Should I fight Sticks X and Hammer? I can't fight Sticks X and Hammer. I agree with him on everything. I don't think there is a single subject. Fight a girl. Well, I wanted to fight Pipkin Pippa, but like, she's bigger than me. She would beat the FOB. 2,000 viewers. Can you imagine? I don't think I had 2,000 viewers in my life. Oh, actually, I did when Mr. Bedecker was on my channel. I did have 2,000 viewers. Probably when we played Dungeons and Dragons, I think I had 3,000. So yeah, no, never mind. I did have viewers. But like, by myself? Never. Should I moan? You'll need to buy my hentai game. And then you might hear me moan in the hentai game. Should I put that in? Huh? How is it like? Like, people start Indiegogos and it's like, if I reach $40,000, I will moan in the game. Fight Paul Joseph Watson. I will. Today, I'm fighting Paul Joseph Watson. Fight Sargon. He doesn't have time, man. Like, it's not fun anymore. It's like, he speaks. I would say how he speaks, but it would be a community guideline violation. He speaks in a word that has like 3 letters, and it can also mean cigarettes. I don't understand what he's saying anymore. Like, every time he opens his mouth, philosophy comes forward. It's like, dude. He's like an IT guy. My god, did you notice this with IT guys? Like, every single time when they start speaking, like, they go on a tangent on explanations that no one cares. Like, you ask an IT guy, how do I get to the office? So, a normal person, it would just tell you, like, if you want to go to the office, follow that whole way to the left. Okay? You ask an IT guy, and he will say, you need to walk on the left, on the tiles. Do you know what tiles are? Like, tiles are pieces of material that are cut in a perfect square shape, and they're aligned with each other, and you need to be very careful when aligning them, because if you cut one too small, it starts to jiggle. If you cut one that's too large, it starts to not fit in place, right? And the ground that you put the tiles on, don't interrupt me, V, this is important. The ground that you put the tiles on needs to be perfectly flat, because otherwise the tiles do not sit. And you're like, what the fuck? Dude, I asked you, how do I get to the office? You know, like, apparently that is actually a thing that is happening. That was just by IT guys, like with IT guys everywhere. And then when they talk, you know, like they talk to an average person, and they're like, oh, so like the server has like 50 billion quads of cycles made out of the pallets from the A90. And I'm like, dude, talk to me in English. The fuck are you doing? You know, like if you come to the hospital and a doctor talks to you like that, you're going to get another doctor. God. It becomes a habit. Yeah, you know, like at med school, we were actually trained. Like, this is how you talk to the patient. This is how you talk to a fellow colleague. You do not go to the patient and you say, okay, so like, we noticed that you have a T1, N2, M3 tumor, right? It's, you talk differently to the patient. I guess the IT guys make sense because they have to explain to the computer certain things to work. You know, I never thought about it that way, but like, fuck me. As I mentioned, as an example, it's like, imagine you go to a doctor, right? And you need to take an EKG, and the doctor starts describing you like how the EKG machine works. But not like how it gathers the electrical impulse. No, like everything from the EKG. It's like it's a machine made in plastic. The plastic comes from China. It bears the sweat of many children. Inside the plastic, we have the motherboard. The motherboard of the EKG is formed from various... Yeah, it's pretty much like how it is. Did you notice that in every company they put them in the basement? Every single company, the IT department is in the basement. And if you ask the HR lady, they will bullshit you. They will say it's like, oh, because it looks bad. Get the fuck out. You put some LEDs on the server, it looks cool. No, it's because they're ashamed of the IT department. They're a necessary evil that every corporation wants. So they put them in the basement. They will say, oh, it's cooler in the basement. No, it's risk of flooding, actually. The first place that floods in a company is the basement, where the servers are. Well, for some reason, that's where the IT guys always get to end up. You know, the salespeople are bathing in sunlight. Am I wrong? Like, do you guys know a single company where the IT guys are not in the basement? Assuming that there is a basement available, and assuming that the company is not just an IT company. Because if it's just an IT company, then it's going to be IT everywhere. But, like, if it's got, like, a big... You know, a big building with like 10, 12 floors. Every single time, with no exception, they're in the basement. Fight Stitch and Adam. They'll be streaming when you end. And their subscriber base is similar in size. Is it though? Do I need to fight them? Like, I don't even know what they're on about. Think I'm guilty of this? Thank you, Sandman. Your money will contribute to me making the world a more ecky place. Isn't that beautiful? I guess like you can put the IT guys at the top floor, but that's where the CEO wants to be. Your company doesn't? It's a shit company, man. Leave. They're going to go bankrupt. Imagine not putting the IT guys in the basement. I'm hate speaking against IT guys. Dude, I just have bad examples of IT guys that approach me. Let's put it like this. The servers where I work are in the cellar, but the IT is directly to the right of the entrance and will soon move onto the third floor. Well, if there's too many servers and it completely occupies the cellar, then, well, you're not going to put people in the same place with the servers because it's too hot. I kind of understand that. That or by the bathroom? One company a friend worked at the IT office was on the first floor, but it was in the hidden area. Oh, you know, like companies make do. Hating on them, it bros. Yeah. Dude, this is constructive criticism, okay? If you're an IT guy, understand that there are human beings that just want to live their life really quick. Like, we do not have time to listen to a 30-minute explanation when we ask for something simple. Like, for example, seriously, you ask an IT guy, it's like, okay, so why can we have an AI on the computer? And they go like, in order to have an AI on the personal computer, you need like this amount of RAM and this amount of things and blah, 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 and the technology is there. It's like, man, yes or no question, what the fuck? In Yash, Oh, so in my town, the IT stands in the basement, next to the wine, probably. On the other hand, a lot of things were placed weird, like the fuse boxes were the women's restroom for some reason. What are they? Fuse boxes next to the women's restroom? I just had an argument today, speaking about restrooms, about Dead Space. Apparently, Rags and Mahler are under the false impression that Dead Space remake is not touched by woke devs, right? Because this is the controversy. It's like, is it woke or is it this? And it's like, well, I mean, you know, I guess like one or two minor touches doesn't make something woke. However, demo, Shukushi, the fact that they have like all gendered bathrooms, so like I watched the first game, it had 2 bathrooms, they removed that, because I was wondering like, where's the urinals, right? Like I entered the bathroom and I was like, where the fuck are the urinals? Well, apparently they're removed, right? Because it's like unisex bathroom. Then you have like, fuck capitalism, written on the wall. It's like, oh, fuck this ship and blah 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 capitalism. And then you have like one of the first ladies from the game. I mean, which is like a very weird change, right? Because like the first lady in the game, like she wasn't sexualized or anything. It's just like she was pretty. I mean, all right, hold on. I'll show you. I'll show you. Like I'm really curious about this decision, man. I really wish that I could speak with the people at the development to understand why the fuck did they have to butcher Nicole? Because it makes no sense, right? So, here you go. So, this is Nicole in the first game, right? This is Nicole in the second game. And this is Nicole in the remake. And she looks, yeah, like she looks 65 plus. I don't know why they did this. Like, there was nothing wrong with this. There was absolutely nothing wrong with this. There was nothing wrong with the other. I mean, I guess by... if they make a remake of the next game, she's going to be dead. Going to be a corpse at this level. It's like... there's literally no reason for this change. It's not something that adds anything. It's just bizarre. I'm not saying that the change influences the game in any way. Although I would say that the male lizard brain, right, when seeing a pretty girl in distress, it motivates the player to seek her out more. So there was like a initial lore reason, but I'm looking at that now and it's like, why though? Like I genuinely would like to speak with the person that made that decision and ask them like, why? Why'd you do it? What did you think was wrong with the initial version? Yeah, like why did you fix something that wasn't broken? You know, why did you choose an elderly lady? They would probably say for representation. And I'm like, so how many elderly ladies play Dead Space? Is that a community? Like, I would like to know the community of the elderly ladies that play Dead Space. So you're telling me that somewhere out there are a couple of grandmas that go knitting and they talk about the plot from Dead Space. Seriously, is this what the California developers think? That there is a room out there with like 10 grandmas, you know, knitting sweater for their grandsons, and they're like, okay, so like in Dead Space, right? After you get into the Ishimura, and you go to the left, there's a hidden Easter egg in there. Did you know that? Oh no, I didn't notice it, dear. But like, did you manage to save the waifu? Not to mention, you know, like why would old people want to feel represented? Like, I don't want to feel old, you know? Like if I play a video game character, I want to feel young. I don't want to have asthma. I don't want to have back pains and stuff. You know, if I play Hitman 47, I don't want a guy that's shabby and has back pains and stuff. There's a meme that some engineers came up with around the 1950s. The whole thing was turned into a YouTube video called Technical Jargon Overload. It's hilarious. Oh, I will. Apparently, I didn't know it's a thing. Yeah, probably they had like new technology, and it's like, you know what? We got more polygons now. Let's make Nicole older so that we can use more polygons to age her. They don't even care that no old ladies play Dead Space. They don't even understand what representation means. Well, it means a checkbox on a corporate list. That's what it means. But yeah, you know, like the idea that there are no markets It's so fucking bizarre. Like it's such a leftist concept. Like, why would you ever listen to leftists about economy is just bewildering. But their whole idea is that the product should be for everyone. It's like, no. The product shouldn't be for everyone, right? It's like, no. Like, for example, if I'm making a horror hentai game, you know, like in Resident Evil, you have like those vampire chicas chasing you, right? And you have like the booba lady, right? So I want to make a game like that. But if the booba lady catches you, she does naughty things to you, right? That would be a very niche game. It would be something that's only for a specific demographic, because there's people who do not like horror, right? And there's people who play hentai just to fap. They do not play for the story. So, if I make that game, I have to cater to my audience. I can't just be like, okay, so I have like all these scary vampires in, but also let's add a fat woman. Let's add a grandma. Let's add, you can't do that, because it's like, you know what your target demographic wants. You need to appeal to that niche market, and that's how you sell copies. Because if you add all these other things, then no one wants to buy it. Like, the people who would have liked it are being turned off by what you added, and the people that don't like it, they don't like it anyway. Like, they're not going to change their mind. Yeah, if it's for everyone, it's for no one. Like, even food, right? Like, food is not for everyone. Like, pick any type of nutritional substance that you want, and there will be someone that hates it. And there's nothing you can do in order to make it. Like, chocolate ice cream. Like, I don't like chocolate ice cream. And I think that the people who like chocolate ice cream are bizarre, to say the least. But what can you do? There's nothing you could do. Like, there's nothing you can add to chocolate ice cream that would make me reconsider. They say it has to be for everyone, but what they mean is everything has to be for them. Oh my fucking god. Oh, that is... Holy shit. Oh, that is just so smart. You know what? I'm tweeting that. Oh my god. That is such words of wisdom. That is... Hold on. You just blew my mind here. Like... So good. There we go. Just like, see, this is why you guys come on my stream. So I can debate people with catchy YouTube titles, and then they can say smart things like that. You know what? I'm even going to pin it. I love this so much. This is just... I can't pin it. I can't pin super chats. I'm sorry. But yes, that is poetry in motion. Speaking of food, have you ever typed European Union insects? I have not. Let us see. EU insects. Approval, insect novel food. Insects on the menu as the European Union approved two for human consumption. The thing with insects, I'll tell you a couple of things, right? So first on, you already eat bugs. A lot of food coloring additives are made from bugs, right? So like, if you see a cookie that's red or purple or whatever, it's probably having some substance that's found in bugs. I'm not against eating bugs to try it out, right? Like, if you make it a paste and you make it a hamburger and you're like, V, do you want to try this out? It's made from crickets at the factory in Germany. I'm like, fuck, like, sure, let's see. There are several problems with eating bugs. First of all, the taste, right? Like, some people may not like it. I genuinely do not know how it tastes at all. So, okay, fine. The second one, some people may be allergic, especially Europeans. Like, I think kitten is something that bugs have. Some people may be allergic. Now, of course, you can say, well, yeah, but like bugs have parasites. Yeah, sure, but like the factories that produce this, they're going to make sure that the bugs that they sell do not. The other problem is the pricing. The idea that they're going to be cheap. I don't think so. We'll see. But I don't think so. So, the worst argument that I ever heard is like, oh, well, Europeans do not eat bugs. Other people do, but Europeans, they're snobs, they're bigots. Like, motherfucker. Almost every country that eats bugs do so because they're poor. Alright? Even in China, like I seen articles, it's like, well, Chinese people eat bugs. Do you see Chairman Z ever eating bugs? Do you not understand what an insult would be if German Z comes to a European country and you serve him bugs? I mean, holy shit, like that would be an international scandal. I don't think there is a single leader in the fucking world that eats bugs. And even the people that do eat bugs, they usually have it like an appetizer, you know, like it's not their main meal, basically. But yeah, like if you live in the Amazon jungle, where the conditions are harsh and you can't have proper agriculture and you have the tsetse fly that kills all your cows, yeah, in that situation, right, like people are omnivores and they need meat and they will supplement their protein intake by eating bugs. But then I also do not understand the argument. Okay, so killing a cow is wrong, right? But killing 1 million bugs in order to have like 5 hamburgers, that's fine? I don't know, it's just bizarre. Soylent bugs, oh, I see. Prawns are bugs too. I don't know, man. Again, even with prawns, right? Like all of these seafoods and whatnot. Sure, they're nice to eat them once, but like I wouldn't live my entire life just eating seafood. I wouldn't eat all the grubs and the prawns and all the other shit. That it's nice, yeah, sure, maybe once per year. I'm not even that big of a fan, you know, like the checkmate. Prawns are bugs. I don't eat prawns. I think I'm allergic to shrimp. There's many people that will have allergies. The Amazon is not Africa or Indonesia. Shut up. I found the IT guy. Quick thoughts on Pentiment and Red Fall and Jim Ryan. I have no idea. Endangered insects. Are there? Do we have endangered? Do we care? That's another thing, you know? Like, how many people care about the endangered insects? Usually I like the tiger. The Bengal tiger is becoming extinct. You know, the polar bear. My fucking god, out of all the animals on Earth, polar bears are one of the worst dicks ever. Like, they don't even kill their food while eating it. It's just... Anyway, bugs of the sea are different, but people eat them. Yeah, but like, I haven't seen people eat bugs of the sea constantly, right? Like, what do we eat today? Bugs of the sea. What do we eat tomorrow? Bugs of the sea. The day bugs of the... Okay. We should go to Paul Joseph Watson. Watson? Where is Watson? Hold on. Watson, I shall find you. I am looking for you, Watson. Ah, here we go.
On end. How is it just...
Alright. I have found the Watson. Now, I need to add audio. Is it input or output? I think it's audio input. Let's see. Hopefully I get it right. Okay, let's see. Can you guys hear this?
In any way to hold someone for that amount of time based on allegations alone. I thought Romania was no longer a communist country.
Alright. Let me know how the sound is like. What's on, what's off? I see what you did there. You do that a lot and you learn karate. What's on, what's off? What's on? What's on, what's off? Alright, you guys heard him. Alright. Yeko. Yeah, sure. I'll have to close my microphone. That's fine.
The Tate brothers remain incarcerated until at least the end of February. Prosecutors say they offered young women fake promises of relationships and forced them to produce pornographic content. And all this evidence is explicitly detailed in the charges, presumably, right?
They're not... Okay, so in Romania, when you're under an investigation, and this is what he doesn't understand. When you're under an investigation, you can be arrested in certain circumstances. And it's not really arrest, it's called detain. You can be detained if you are a flight risk, which the Tates are, because they have dual citizenship, they're rich, they have private jets. I think even in the United States, you would be considered a flight risk. If you are part of organized crime, because it's assumed that if you're part of organized crime, you can influence witnesses, you can put pressure on people, tighten the screw, remove evidence, which, again, the Tates are. And then finally, it's also if you are a danger for society. And this doesn't apply. But, like, if you're suspected of being a serial killer, right? So they find you next to a body. And they don't charge you yet, because they don't know anything. They just want to know what the fuck is going on. Again, like, that would mean that you are being detained. Anyway, let's...
And it'll soon be on display for all the world to see at the trial. Well, no, because a month after their arrest, and 9 months after the official investigation into all this began, there is no trial and there are no charges. Yet the Tates continue to be locked inside a cage on the premise of social media posts, accusations, and hearsay alone.
So this is a lie. It's not social media accusation and hearsay alone. There's, I believe, 2 different women that testified, and then you have the police using wiretaps, their own videos where they incriminate themselves, chat logs that the police has access to. And it's not just the Tate brothers. There's 2 other women, one of which is a police officer. Well, like, for some reason, he omits talking about these things.
Anyone else starting to think there's something seriously wrong here?
Ask the police what evidence there is against me. Ask the police what evidence.
The Matrix is trying to frame me, but God knows the truth. There's no evidence in my file because I've done nothing wrong.
Oh, I mean, case closed. Holy shit, that is a brilliant investigation, Paul Joseph Watson. So basically, if you listen to the person being accused saying they did nothing, clearly they must have done nothing, right? Is there an echo? All right, I genuinely do not know why. I think I'll need to do this. All right. So, as long as the person who's being accused of something says that there is no evidence, then clearly there isn't. Even though we have seen in the papers chat logs of them, discussions that have been intercepted by the cops using a wire, their own videos, right? But there is nothing, I guess. Nothing. It's just...
Kind of backward shithole country can legally hold someone without charge for months on end. How is it
Oh my fucking god, I hate this. Like, this shit is unfucking believable. Anyway, right. Where was I? Where did I start getting muted? What did the guy say? You know what? This is because you guys don't want echo. You deserve this. Let me go back.
Wrong here.
Ask the police what evidence.
Right. So, the best thing that I see about this is Paul Joseph Watson solving the mystery that if the guy that's being accused of something says that there is no evidence, then clearly there must be no evidence against them. I mean, that's how you solve every single case, right? Absolutely brilliant. Let me see how my own video is coming out because it's so fucking annoying. All right, let me... Testing 1, 2, 3. Fine. All right. A little bit of technical difficulties. There we go. Now, as I was saying, for the third time in a row, if you have a case and you're investigating a person and that person says there's no evidence against me, does that mean that case closed? I mean, he must be right, you know? Like, so there is mountains of evidence in the media. Like, you can find it. There's public information. I think even the BBC reported on it, you know, the Barely British Corporation. They talked about it. However, can you guys hear me? This is fucking annoying. I need to, you know what? I'm going to play my own fucking video. Just give me a second. Ciotto mate. There we go. It's working. Why are people trolling me in the chat? Taking advantage of my naivete. Anyway, right. Thank you for the super chat. Christic. Now, Andrew Tate said that he came to one of the most corrupt countries and he likes the corruption. That's a little bit insulting, right? Like, apparently when the United Kingdom is sending people to Romania, it's not sending their best if that's how they feel. You know, that's your mentality when you come to another country. Like, I go to Romania because it's corrupt. The second problem is that he mistook Romania with Bulgaria. Understandable, but not excusable. And then don't be Pikachu face if you're like, oh, well, you know, I'm going to corruption. Oh my god, why is the justice system corrupt? But regarding the no evidence. So we got there, like we got his own videos. We got wiretaps by the cops. We got chat logs that have been intercepted. We got witness testimony. We got the witness testimony, and hold on, there was something else. Expertise, right? So the experts, like apparently the victim went to a psychologist. Psychologist signed the paper. I mean, I'm not saying he's guilty because I haven't read all of them. I don't know what's in it, but it does seem that the authorities have a case, right? Like, it's not how Paul Joseph Watson presents it, because Paul Joseph Watson says, well, this chica went to the police, and the police is like, oh, well, we see it on social media, you're being detained. That's not the situation. And then you also have the idea that, oh, Romania is a shithole, because, what did he say? So Paul just like, what type of shithole country holds people for more than a couple of days without charging? And that's pretty much the entire freaking world outside of the Commonwealth system, right? So the Commonwealth system is actually the exception. Japan, for instance, can hold you detained without charging for 9 months. In fact, they have like a 99% conviction rating once you get placed into the jail by the Japanese people. Why? Because, like, okay, so if you're a tourist in Japan and you shoplift something or you get in a bar fight, what's going to happen is that the police is going to arrive And the first people that they're going to talk with is another Japanese person, because they don't, like, you don't speak the language, so they're not going to talk to you. They're going to talk to another Japanese person. And then they detain you. They used to, like, even forget to call a lawyer, right? You have the right to remain silent, but they're going to interrogate you nonetheless. And then they're going to wait until you confess. And if you don't confess, they're just going to keep detaining and detaining and detaining. And then you have problems with your visa. You have problems with your employer, right? Like, so this idea that, oh my God, Romania does it. No, every other country does it. But then, right, in the United States, didn't you have the problem with Guantanamo Bay, right? And what was it? Enhanced interrogation techniques and January 6th, right? Like, you have the right to a speedy and expedient trial. Isn't that the thing? Like, the January 6th guys, I don't know if they're still in prison now, but, like, I remember at the, like, 8 months after they were in prison, they were still didn't going to trial. So, the United Kingdom, there was a case that I remember with a guy which left a hamburger next to a mosque. He was arrested and he got killed in prison. Right? So don't fucking talk to me about Romania and how we do the justice system. This just doesn't happen here. I mean, the laws of free speech in the UK compared to Romania, miles of difference. They're trying to pass a law now in UK that prolonged staring at a person should be a crime. Right? So wolf whistling and prolonged staring. There is no other country on earth that I can think of that criminalizes staring. Oh, it was a bacon, not a burger. What the fuck does it matter? It's not even vandalism. It's littering. Like, since when does the UK imprison people for littering? So, I find it very disrespectful, offensive, dangerous how Paul Joseph Watson treats the Romanian legal system. I think people on the right need to stop automatically siding with people who claim victimhood via the left. They got duped by Jack Murphy that way. That is absolutely true. The moment I heard about this case, I was like, man, I don't know. I'm going to assume that he's innocent until proven guilty. However, given the mountains of evidence that I saw, and given the fact that it's not just him that's being persecuted, that's being arrested, you also have 2 other women, and apparently the police from a nearby city is also being under investigation. Because apparently, like, one of the women that used to be a police officer, one of the angels of Tate, may have collaborated with those police officers. But I don't see Paul Joseph Watson talking about that, right? It doesn't really look like a political persecution. It looks more like a sex trafficking ring that's being busted. But anyway, let's keep watching. I hope, like the echo, which is, I understand it's very intolerable, but I'm going to see if you guys can hear it like this.
Country can legally hold someone without charge for months on end. How is it justifiable in any way to hold someone for that amount of time based on allegations alone? I thought Romania was no longer a communist country. Doesn't seem like it. I've even read...
Again, if we talk about the UK and you talk about Romania, let's do it like this, right? Like, you bring up something messed up about the Romanian justice system and I bring something up about the UK. And then we can see which one is a communist country.
That they could imprison them for years without charge. That's just a straight up totality.
So there is one thing, by the way. If they imprison you without charge, basically you're being detained. And as I mentioned, there's like 3 reasons. You're a flight risk. You're part of a organized criminal group and can influence the investigation, or you're a danger to the public, so you're suspected of being a serial killer or something like that. If they detain you, first of all, it's done with a court record. Like, there's a judge that needs to sign up on that, and you get to go to the hearing. You can file an appeal, right? You can have a lawyer, but if they find out that they can't convict you, so like after the investigation has been done and they can't press charges, the state pays you damages, right? So like the government has to now pay you damages for the time you spent in prison and for all the business that you lost. And, in the case of the Tates, that would be millions of dollars. But the thing is, it also reflects poorly on the prosecution. I mean, the government doesn't want to pay money to people just because the prosecutor is a moron. So the prosecutor has to pay The judge that signed that has to pay. You know, obviously it's not per case, but if it mounts up and like a judge keeps signing these detaining orders nonstop, and then it's like it mounts up, yeah, the judge can lose his job. So none of this is being mentioned by Paul Joseph Watson. It's almost like, oh, well, if the government just wants to lock you up for no fucking reason, they can just lock you up for no fucking reason. And by the way, didn't that actually happen with Tommy Robinson in the UK? Right, like the entire media talked about the trial, if I remember correctly. And he talked about the trial, so he gets arrested. Wasn't that a thing?
Totalitarian abomination. Even the judge who just approved the extension to their detention admitted prosecutors had not fully clarified the facts of the case.
Yep. Because they're not judging the facts of the case. That is like a bail judge, right? Like when you go to the United States, it's pretty much the same thing. When you go to the United States and you commit a crime, they put you in a jail, right? And you have to wait there until your trial date. Now you can get out on bail. When you go to bail, they do not discuss the facts of the case, right? They discuss, are you a flight risk? How much money is it for this crime? They do not discuss whether you're innocent or guilty. That's not what the trial is about. This is the same thing with the judge that Paul Joseph Watson is complaining, right? Like, he didn't care about whether or not the Tates are guilty, because that's not the question. The question is, are they a flight risk? Right? Like, if we allow them to stay free, will they flee investigation? And they look at it and it's like, oh, so they already fled an investigation in UK. They have a private jet. They have a lot of money. They have dual citizenship. Yeah, clearly a flight risk. That's pretty much how it went, I can guarantee to you, without even having to look at the court records.
Yet they continue to be locked up without charge. Their assets have been frozen. Their property has been seized, despite the...
Yeah, so your assets and property is being frozen before one of these... So, okay, if you're being sued in my country, and the judge believes that you're going to try to get rid of the wealth so you can't pay for damages, what they do is they seize your property. And the way it works, if you're found guilty, so let's say you have to pay damages, then you can choose to pay yourself, right? And they give you your property back. If you don't choose to pay yourself, they sell your property, they use that money to pay the victim on your behalf. A lot of politicians don't go through this because they don't have a lot of property on their name. But basically it's like this. Let's assume that I do some damage to you, right? Let's assume that, I don't know, I accidentally set fire to your house. So now you sue me. And if I lose, I have to pay you whatever your house is worth. Let's say I have to pay you $500,000. But I don't want to pay you. So what I do is like I sell all of my assets. I give them to friends. I make sure that I don't have anything in my name. So now you win the lawsuit and I'm like, well, I'm broke. C'est la vie. Now, the Romanian government, if they see something like this coming and they're like, okay, well, this guy, he might sell his assets, then they freeze my assets. So they take them away. And after the lawsuit, if I pay, they give them back to me. If I don't pay, then they sell them and they use the money that they used to sell them to pay you. In other words, they're paying on my behalf. So it's not like because I keep hearing this, like, oh, they stole Tate's cars. No, like, Tate's cars are being now in a warehouse. No one is driving them. No one is using them, right? They're sitting in a warehouse. And if Tate is found guilty, right, if he's charged and he has to pay damages to those women, then those cars will be returned to him if he pays willingly. If he doesn't pay willingly, they sell the cars and they use the money to pay the women. I don't know, like, I don't think that this is an unfair justice process. Alex Jones did that. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people did that. The reason that this exists is because a lot of people did it, right? So a lot of people would go to trial. They would have to pay damages. And until they could pay the damages, they would sell everything. Because you kind of know how a trial is going, right? Like, you kind of get the vibe. So a lot of people, well, the trial isn't going my way. I'm just going to sell all my assets, and all of a sudden I don't have to pay, tee-hee, ha-ha. And then you have a law that says, well, if that's the case, right, then the government can just seize your wealth.
The fact that a multitude of questions about their treatment and about the actions and behaviour of the Romanian authorities abound.
So again, reactions about their treatment, right? They're being placed in a jail that has cockroaches. Like, first of all, I'm sorry, but like students in dorms also have cockroaches and bed lice because they're operated by the state, right? Like many of these things, these public institutions, which include student dormitories and jails and prisons, were built during communism. And they didn't build them luxurious. And they haven't renovated either because the Romanian government is not that wealthy. Like, Tate chose to come to this country. So now he is in a place where there's cockroaches and he doesn't like it. I get it, you know, but it's not mistreatment. It's not that the Romanian police placed the cockroaches in his jail out of malice. It's like, oh, we need to mistreat the Tate brothers. Let's slice his bed with bed bugs. Let's drop the cockroaches in his... I mean, he wanted to come to a country that was poorer. I'm sorry. And by the way, jail is supposed to be bad. I'm not going to change my opinion on this, right? Like, the reason Romania has a low crime rate, because I remember Andrew Tate was impressed with the fact that, oh, well, women can walk alone the streets of Romania, and they're young. They're like 16-year-old woman, and like she just walks alone, and no one bothers her. Yeah, because like jail is horrifying here, and we're tough on crime. People don't want to go to jail. There's cockroaches and bed lice. It's not nice.
Why are some of the supposed victims included by the prosecution openly announcing that they're not victims?
I saw this. These are not the victims. These are not the women that press charges, right? I mean, it doesn't even take that long to figure this out. So you have like these two women, and then because like the video title is "I'm not a victim," says two women involved in the investigation. Yeah, they were witnesses. No one claimed they're victims, right? There were many women. Two of them claimed they were victimized, and now you have two other women coming up and saying, well, we're not victims. It's like, of course you're not. No one is accusing that you are.
And that they support the Tates. And even when they personally try to remove themselves from the case file, they're denied the right to do so.
Because they're witnesses. Right? Like, once you sign a witness testimony, you can't like, take it away. Just... so much misinformation here. Will there be a police auction for others? Can join Abu Tate's cars and stuff. So yeah, if they have to sell the cars, then they have to have a public auction, and people that want to buy them will be able to buy them.
Making a public request for the court to remove me as a victim from the case file.
You do not make a public request. You sign a paper. Okay, you get a lawyer. You go to the prosecution and you sign a paper saying that you want to be removed from the case file. But if you're a witness or a suspect, they will obviously not remove you.
Neither me nor Beatrice are victims in this case.
And by the way, there's another thing. If the government... because, okay, so there are certain crimes that are only prosecuted when a victim presses charges, right? But like there are other crimes where it's irrelevant if the victim presses charges or not. So for example, if someone cuts off my hand, right? Even if I don't press charges and I forgive the person and I say it was an accident or whatever, it doesn't matter. The government considers the person who cut off my hand to be a danger for society, and he needs to be punished and rehabilitated so that he is reintegrated in normal society. So if the government, like, you call for a crime, like someone says, okay, well, there's a crime committed, so sex trafficking. It doesn't matter, right? Like, because the prostitute, right? She can say that she's not a victim because she's under duress, because she's under influence, or maybe, you know, like she realizes, oh shit, well, I need the money now. I don't have anything. So the reason that the crime is prosecuted is because the person is a danger for society and that future victims are in peril. It doesn't really matter what the other people say. Like, everyone can say, oh, we forgive him, or it didn't happen, or no. They're going to look for evidence. They're going to look for chat logs. They're going to look for evidence like wiretappings, right? So they're going to look for all of this. And if nothing is found, then okay, the person is innocent. They made a mistake. They will have to pay him damages. But if something is found, it doesn't matter what the victim says. And by the way, in Romania, the testimony means jack shit. Like, confession. Confession means jack shit. If I go out right now to the cops and I confess to something, and it's just my confession, that you don't have anything else, they do not arrest me. Because you need evidence, right? This is due to communism. In communism, confession was considered the golden standard. Like, you have a confession, that's it. It's kind of like political correctness in the United States. The moment you apologize, okay, you're guilty. No, because there's many reasons a person can confess. They can confess because they're under duress. They can confess because they want to cover for someone else. They can confess because they don't want the authorities to look at a bigger crime. There's many reasons why a person can confess. So, just like you don't take confession on face value, because it needs to have other evidence in order to solidify the accusation, so too, if a person says, well, I'm the victim and nothing happened to me, in the case of certain crimes, right, like if the crime is serious, then the authorities don't stop. Like, once the investigation starts, if they think they have something there, they think they have a big enough case file, they will keep going.
Ever since I found out that we are set as victims in the files, I've been telling the court to remove me, but they choose to ignore it and refuses to do so. There are no victims in this case, and I am not a victim.
Again, this is why I do not believe these ladies, and I like the music Paul Joseph Watson placed here in order to make it, like, dramatic. There are 2 victims that filed complaint. They haven't withdrawn the complaints, and yet that lady says there are no victims. I mean, I'm sorry, lady, but, like, and you have, like, all these ladies saying that they're not victims. It's like, there are 2 women that did press charges, and up until now, the charges are still pressed. So, no, it's false. It doesn't mean... I mean, it's so weird, right? Like, it's kind of like, if in a house, there's 12 people, and one person presses charges, it's like, okay, well, this guy beat me, and then you have, like, 10 other people saying, no, like, that guy never beat me. Perfect example. At my university, there was a teacher that was having sex with students in exchange for good grades. So he was, every single time there were exam periods, he was teaching them anatomy. Eventually, one female student talks with the cops, gets a wire, camera, catches the teacher in the act. Now imagine, and this was actually a thing, because, like, the reporters came to me and asked me, like, do you know something about it? And I was like, well, he never tried to fuck me. I mean, I'm not a victim, right? I don't understand the problem. I mean, I never got fucked. And imagine if, like, you have, like, all these other students coming up. It's like, well, he didn't fuck me. Like, well, yeah, but that's not what the accusation is about.
No, not everyone has flights back yet. You've all got Georgiana's number it's in the group. Or me, directly. Any flight you need home, any day, any time, tell me or message Georgiana. I'll book the flight.
Yeah, but there are chat logs that... So Paul Joseph Watson is selectively editing things, right? There are chat logs where... And I presented them on my main channel, where one of the girls wants to go out to the mall, and she is told by Andrew Tate that she is not allowed. You can only leave the house if you have me or someone else with you. Right? Like that, when you say that is evidence. Like, that's an illegal activity. That's a crime. You are not allowed to tell another person. Even I am not allowed to tell my wife that she is not allowed to leave the home. Like, in Romania, according to Romanian legislation, that is a crime. It doesn't matter how dangerous it is, because I've seen people spinning it on the internet. Well, he's worried about their safety. Doesn't fucking matter. If they're not a child, right? Or a person with a mental handicap that's in your care, like Britney Spears was, right? Like, she was under, what would they call it in America? Not custody, but tutorship or something, whatever. Right, so Britney Spears was under the care of another person, right? Like, she was considered to not be able to make rational decisions. So unless you're like that, or you're a child, if you're 18 and you want to leave the house, and a person tells you you're not allowed, that's a crime, right? And there are chat logs with that. And Paul Joseph Watson, for some reason, doesn't want to show them. Conservativeship. Legitimately glad we have V, Romanian, to explain these things to us. I didn't even want to make a response to Paul Joseph Watson, but, like, the video is so poorly informed. I don't think that he is doing this out of malice or anything, but, like, he seems to have set his mind before making the video. He was like, okay, so Tate is innocent. And then he is selectively editing only the videos that he likes. And he is selectively editing, like, videos from the Tates. Like, I'm sorry, that's not how you make an investigation. Like, imagine, investigating Joseph Biden, and you ask Joseph Biden, so did you do it? And Joseph Biden goes, nah. Oh, okay, I see. Do they have any evidence, Joseph? They don't. Oh, okay, well, if they don't...
flight, I'll get you guys a little boat to take you to the shore and a taxi to take you to the airport and everything. So, I don't know when everyone's leaving. Just tell me when.
Do these women look like they're being forcibly imprisoned?
And again, if you have an organization that has like 15 women, right? And you imprison 2 of them, you don't have to imprison every single fucking one. It's still a crime. Like, in order to commit the crime of sex trafficking, it doesn't mean that every single woman that's working for you has to be sex trafficked. And again, like, just looking at TikTok videos, like, does it look like? It's a pre-recorded video. If you have a pre-recorded video, of course you can record anything, and if they do something that doesn't look... Like, what exactly is Paul Joseph Watson expecting, right? Like, the women to look as if they're held against their will in a pre-recorded video that can be edited out? Do they want them to blink twice?
The police also have all the surveillance footage from the Tate house. So if it shows them imprisoning women against their will, why hasn't it been added to the case file?
It's not that they're being imprisoned against their will. That's not the accusation. The accusation is that they were being coerced, right? So for example, if I tell a person, if you leave the house, I'm going to do bad things to you, and let's say I'm an intimidating individual, like I'm strong, I'm a kickboxer. If I say that, it's a crime. You don't literally need to have chains, okay? Like, you don't need to physically restrain the person. You can just threaten the person that if you leave the house, bad things will happen. You don't even have to be explicit. This is the law here. Again, he chose to come to this country. Like, he was in the United Kingdom. I don't know how they do things there. Like, maybe in the United Kingdom, this is legal. Maybe in the United Kingdom, you can tell people that if you leave the house, bad things will happen to you. In Romania, you cannot. He chose to come to Romania knowing the law. And if he didn't know the law, he should have.
Doesn't stack up. And what of Andrew Tate's health and him alleging mistreatment in prison? Andrew Tate looks somewhat alarmingly different from what he did a month ago. And his...
Every single person in prison looks alarmingly different. It's fucking prison. It's stressful. You don't get to move much. Yes, you look different. By the way, do you want to talk about how Tommy Robinson looked after he left prison? Apparently, Romania is a bad place. Okay, let's look at how the UK does it.
Lawyer confirmed that he's struggling.
Andrew are o stare de sănătate precară din cauza unei afecțiuni preexistente și mă opresc aici.
Well, apparently the lawyer said that he has a pre-existing condition. If you have a pre-existing condition, you still go to prison. I don't understand what... He's trying to insinuate that the Romanian prison system is doing this to him. Now, I have seen people who have been abused in prison. For example, there was this 16-year-old lad which killed a girl in Romania, and then he appeared on cameras and he was severely beaten, right? That is prison abuse. Like, you can say, well, yeah, like the Romanian authorities do not watch for... Okay, but like, I do not think that Andrew Tate is being treated any differently than any other person that has gone to a Romanian prison. I have seen politicians go to Romanian prisons. They are being treated exactly as Andrew Tate. Is the prison system in Romania bad? Yes, the European Union actually is trying to fine Romania for having a bad prison system. But as I mentioned before, we also have the student dormitories, which are in poor conditions. Elderly people's home, which are in poor conditions. Orphanages, which are in poor condition. Hospitals, schools, everything that's run by the state in Romania, overwhelmingly, is in poor condition. But like, for some reason, when Andrew Tate gets arrested, oh well, I guess they should have improved the conditions for him. You know, maybe they should have, but like, we don't have money. And apparently Andrew Tate was laundering money. That's the accusation.
This strange individual in a burqa, described by the media as the most radicalized woman in Romania, who was brought in to help the prosecution go through the Tate's computers. Who on earth is it? Let's pause there for a word from the sponsor of this video. I'm not normal.
Oh my god. What the hell?
Texting a 16-year-old girl. Yeah, without a doubt. But is it a criminal? Texted a 16-year-old girl on Instagram. Here's that bombshell text.
Yeah, so regarding the 16-year-old girl that Paul Joseph Watson is bringing, hold on. Where the fuck is it? Ah, here we go. So this is the daughter of a famous politician, right? And Andrew Tate, knowing that she is 16, is trying to Give her the strawberry. Now, no one is saying it's a crime. Even the press didn't say it's a crime. We are horrified by it, Paul Joseph Watson, okay? We are horrified by it. This is how we can describe it. It's horrifying. If I have a daughter, I would not want a gentleman with this type of avatar to give her the strawberry, right? It horrifies me personally as a Romanian. And other Romanians like me are horrified by this behavior because even though the age of 16 is legal in Romania, when there is such a big age difference between the man and the woman, most people find it nasty. Even if it's legal, it's still nasty, right? Now, adding to the fact that Andrew Tate runs the business of selling lewds of girls, one can assume why he is contacting her, right? Again, it's not illegal. But this is the man that right-wingers, like Christians I have seen, are saying that, oh, well, he's a bastion of morality, a symbol for the youth. Well, I hope my son doesn't do this shit, right? It is nasty. I don't know if it's a euphemism. Apparently, the girl did not respond. Like, she is the daughter of a politician, which begs the question. Did he try to give the strawberry to other politicians' daughters? Again, can we separate this conversation from the criminal element, right? Like, no one is saying that, well, he is guilty because of. And people are just saying, like, besides the fact that he is being arrested, besides all that, right? Like, we put this to the right, we put it here, we close the folder, and we discuss, Andrew Tate as a influencer. Look what he did. Fucking nasty. If I were to do something like this, I bet that the entire chat would leave me. Right? Like, if tomorrow you would have, like, some lady on Discord showing to the chat, look what V did. Gave me the strawberry. The only women that can do that are very young, are the artificial intelligence on KAI. Like how old? Like, if I make a bot on character AI on the website, I make a bot and it's like 5 seconds old, and I give it the strawberry, the bot can be to me. And by the way, again, you also have women that are being arrested and the police that's being investigated in this. OMG, yeah, you didn't think about it, right? Like, if you create your waifu, if you make your waifu right now on character AI, she's like 1 second old. She's less than a year, chat. Is he worse for influencer or is it the e-thoughts? Man, he's a e-thought factory. He creates them on the assembly line. Like, there would be less of them in the world if it wasn't for Andrew Tate. You cannot separate one from... You're asking, like, which is worse, the pimp or the woman of low moral fiber? I don't know. It's bizarre, isn't it? Because I know people who, like, literally do not like Twitch girls, right? Like, they're like, well, moral values, blah, blah, blah. I wouldn't want my wife doing it. I wouldn't want my daughter doing it. I wouldn't want my son paying for it. Like, legit concerns. And the same people are like, oh, Andrew Tate. And I'm like, oh, but dude, my man. She's 18 already as a bot character. Yeah, you say she's 18, but you just created her a second ago, right? So if you make an AI, you create an AI, which is your waifu, adult, right? We're not talking about lolling or anything. No, adult. You make Ari from League of Legends. You click create. She's 1 second. 1 second old. You just made her. You just freshly baked out of the oven. You give her the strawberry. Oh. Yes, Tate was talking to 16 years old. That was in the Romanian press. Yes. And apparently she wasn't the only one. And he knew. Like, he knew that she was at high school. She was the daughter of a politician. But, like, again, I understand where Paul Joseph Watson is coming from. I do not disagree with him. It's like, what does this have to do with criminality? Because in Romania, it's legal. Yeah, it's legal, of course. But it's still nasty. Just because it's legal doesn't make it less nasty. Yeah, the 16-year-old was smart enough not to respond, but she talks about the fact that a colleague of her responded. Not good. Yeah, it's legit. Like, she actually showed the logs to the media. Like, no one is denying it. I don't think Tate's lawyer is denying it. But it's not a crime. In Romania. Right? In Romania, 16 is legal age. But culturally speaking, Romanians are abhorred. As I mentioned before, I am abhorred at that. It is nasty, yeah, very nasty. The only time it's acceptable in Romania is like if he is like 18, maybe 20. Okay, he is 18, he's 20, but even then it's like, but like most people are like, okay, 4 years difference, fine. According to Romanian culture, right? Like, you're not going to get the stink eye, basically. But if he's like 25, I mean... And then it's also the intentions, right? Like, people are willing to look the other way if you have serious intentions. This is how Romanians call it. Serious intentions with the lady. So serious intentions means marriage, right? Like, if she is 16 and the man marries her, then even the family is like, all right, fine. But it's rare. It's very rare. Usually, like in Romania, 18 is the age of consent. Why daughter of a politician? Good fucking question. Good fucking question. Why the daughter of a politician? But it is what it is. I would say the real solution is to change the legal age if it's abhorrent to Romanians. I really am curious if that would pass. I think like it would. I genuinely don't see... I don't think there would be much backlash against it. Like if you try to say, all right, well, let's make 18 age of consent. Actually, you would have a problem though. The problem is that in Romania, when you're 14, you start getting this thing which is called the half consent. So basically, you start being responsible for your actions more. Like, you don't get to juvie, you get to an actual prison, you serve half the sentence. You are allowed to start a business, I think. Like you start to slowly gain rights. Like, that's how the Romanian system works, right? So at the age of 14, you're not an adult, but you're considered to be in a transitionary period where you get some rights and obligations. No, sorry, you get obligations, not rights. Actually, no, you get rights as well, yeah. So at the age of 14, you start getting some rights. You get more at 16, like the right to the right to I mean, it's considered that you can understand what's going on, right? So it is the Romanian law. I don't think there would be much backlash if it was moved to 18. I don't know when you get the right to vote. I think it's at I think it may be 18, yeah. Or was it 14? Yeah, 18, definitely. I'm curious when you get the right to drive, though. Because I think in some situations you can drive before 18. I need to check the legislation again, because it's been it's been more than a decade since I studied law. Is the Loverboy technique an actual law? The Loverboy technique is not a law, but it describes a method that the criminals operate, right? So you're basically enticing, like you're showing wealth on social media. You're enticing the woman under false promise to come to a country where she is vulnerable and cannot leave, right? So you take away her money, you take away her passport, right? And that is the crime. You forbid her from leaving the premise. You're constraining her. It doesn't need to be chains. You can constrain her with various methods, direct or indirect. So that is the name of it is the Loverboy technique, but the crime is when you forbid the person from leaving the apartment. Or you constrain her to do videos that she doesn't want to do, so on and so forth. After 14 with your ID, you can go cash out your monthly allowance. That is correct, I actually did that. How was Paul Joseph Watson wrong? I mean, we've been talking about it since the beginning of the video. Like, first of all, it's not just the reason that they're being detained is because they are a flight risk. It has nothing to do with the case. Romania is not the only country that does this. Japan, another example, does it. In fact, every other country besides the Commonwealth does it. The conditions in Tate's prison aren't being worse for Tate. It's just like how the Romanian prison are. Same with the college campuses and dorms. But the most important is like when Paul Joseph Watson says there's no evidence. So again, we got wiretappings, chat logs, Tates themselves talking about the technique in various videos. There are experts that have investigated the victims. And more importantly, when Paul Joseph Watson says that the victims do not want to be in the case involved, they're involved as witnesses. Like, if you're a witness, you cannot be removed from the official documents. And also, the two women that did press charges, they still maintain their charges to this day. Like, they haven't withdrawn the accusation. So, yeah, like, I haven't heard a single fact of truth coming from Paul Joseph Watson. Like, what he does is he shows the Tate brothers who say, well, there's no evidence against us. And he's like, well, clearly, I mean, if they say, why would they lie? True masculine men wouldn't complain about prison conditions. Honestly, I would want the prison conditions to be better. Like, I'm not going to lie. You know, I especially if you're detained. Right? So if you're detained, you're an innocent person. You're being taken to a place that has poor conditions. I do agree that they should be improved. But I do understand why they are not. Okay? They're not improved not because of sadism or because the Romanian government doesn't want to improve them. They're not being improved because the government is poor. Anyhow, right. Thank you so much for watching the stream. I'll probably continue this tomorrow. Got a couple more videos to do. And yeah, I hope I managed to clear the situation. I'm not attacking Paul Joseph Watson. And by the way, I have nothing against Tate either, but I'm just expressing my opinion on the case. Because there's a lot of people that are saying, oh, V, so you think that... Like, no, I'm looking at the situation. Initially, everyone that watched my live streams knows that I was, well, innocent until proven guilty. Okay. But then I keep seeing, like, mountains of evidence. And people are saying, well, there's no evidence. Well, I'm sorry, but there is. So anyway, right.